Hello and welcome back to Generic Sports Podcast, Playoff Edition. I'm your host, the Goose, Josh, and with me, as always, is this Bossa Nova Jones? Yeah, that's him.
Bossa Nova. Wait. Are you sure this is generic sports podcast and not super generic sports podcast for Super Wild Card Weekend?
I actually think they did away with the super stuff.
I heard some people still call it Super Wild Card Weekend.
I mean, I never understood why they were calling it like Super Wild Card.
Because there's an extra game to it.
There's an extra two
games.
Two games, yeah.
They
And
should-
it's like Saturday through Monday.
They should bring in the eighth. They should just bring in the eighth seed, and the first two seeds get the buys again.
Yeah, that probably will happen at some point.
Joe
Then
Burrow.
the Bengals would have been in it.
I know, right? It would have been more fun with Joe Burrow.
You still would have not made it.
I know. It still would have been better with Joe Burrow. I mean, we might have tried to fight harder if there was still a chance at it.
Right. Well, then who would have? Broncos would. Well, it would have been what the It would have been what, the 3 seed against the 8 seed.
Yeah. That would have been, what was it, the Ravens versus the Bengals.
Right, and then what, the 4 versus the 7? So
You would have taken that.
The Texans, oh yeah. And then what? It would have been what, the 5 and the 6?
Yeah.
So it would have been
Steelers, Chargers.
that honestly does sound really entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
And then what would have been the other side? Like
The 3 seed was the Buccaneers.
Yeah, and they
And
would have
they'd
played
play
the
the
Seahawks.
Which, the Seahawks getting a 10-7 record, that's why, like, with teams like the Seahawks and the Bengals that had winning seasons, and especially the Seahawks getting 10 wins, we kind of deserve an 8 seed.
Mm-hmm. Well, to be fair, without getting too off topic of or far expanding this playoff stuff, if they were going to do 8 seeds, they're going to start. They'll also do the reseeding as well, because the Vikings probably would have been the 3 seed, because that would have been because they would have had the better record.
Right, they probably would, because if the 3, 4, and 5 seed are going to host playoff games, then yeah, they would have rearranged. They would have to rearrange it.
And then, but let's we won't toy around with that. But it would have been like what, Seahawks, Buccaneers, and then
Or the Rams would be playing the Packers.
and then the Commanders at
versus
Vikings.
Vikings, yeah.
So yeah, definitely could see wanting some reseeding there. But I mean, yeah, that sounds entertaining. But instead, we've got that. See, that's why they're rebranding it, because they're thinking about it. They're going to get rid of it a couple years, and then it will be back to Super Wild Card Weekend. Then it will be you'll still have the same amount of games. You'll have 6, but 2 seeds. And I mean, hey, with the play-in game and like basketball and stuff, even without it, like you've got 16 teams. That's already. I mean, there's no. You can have half the league in
Other
there.
leagues do it.
Right. I mean, with the amount of games that you play and that matter, yeah. I don't have a problem with it, especially since basketball does it. I mean, they've got 8 teams plus 4, 8 teams per conference, and then 2 play-in teams. So you've got 4 play-in teams, and all that. Like the 6 through 10 seeds. So it's yeah.
And this honestly would just benefit the 2 seeds again.
Right. I mean, it is really crazy to get the second best record, and you get 1 extra home playoff game.
I'm just right. I should try to get this idea pitched, or try to get it.
Oh, I'm sure there's people But I would also say, like, I bet you that comes with stuff that they will do an extra game, but a double bye week. Like 2 bye weeks per team, and more players on the active roster, and like a bigger practice squad, stuff like that. Like there's going to be a lot of NFL Players Association stuff that's going to be worked with the NFL and stuff like that. So it's a whole thing. Interesting conversation. We could definitely toy around with that in a separate podcast during the off season, because this sounds fun. Like we could each come up with rules that we want to see, and play sides. Be like, for my ideas, like I'm the NFL, you're the Players Association, stuff like that. Could definitely do that. But for now, week 18, there was only a few teams playing for a playoff spot. The Broncos beat the Chiefs. Trying to think of the right word besides shutout, but
You decimated their backups.
yes. The Broncos decimated the Chiefs' backups of.
Which we still don't know if the Chiefs just didn't want Joe Burrow in, or their backups really couldn't do anything against Denver's defense.
Right.
Which really could be they could do nothing against Denver's defense. So there's really it's really hard to believe. It's really kind of I'm kind of mixed here. Are their backups really that bad?
I mean, it was only. I want to say it was like three offensive players. Like like as far as the offense goes, I think it was just Mahomes, Kelsey, and was DeAndre Hopkins out too? Oh, and Pacheco, I think.
Yeah.
Because I know like Juju played. I think Noah Gray played.
I mean, they only have so many people.
Right. You can only and that means some people are just playing a whole game. And
I mean, we said the Chiefs really haven't been good this season. So if you get rid of the key players, like their backups might really be this bad.
I was gonna say, I think they got. I think Karlaftis and Chris Jones rested, so we get them and I think Trent McDuffie and right.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, Denver has a solid offensive line, a great defense, so the backups really might not be able to do anything. So
right, I'm trying to think of was there anyone else out? Like those seem like that might be the 7 that I heard as far as being out. So and then I mean that just might be the thing. So
right.
But yeah, that won them the playoff spot, even though the Bengals won. But with the Bengals still winning, that did knock the Steelers down to the 6th seed.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Charger, if the Steelers won, I think the Chargers would have rested their players.
Yeah.
But they fought and played the Raiders and won the 5th seed. So like that was playoff important. The Ravens played on Saturday. They won the division. Buccaneers won the division, and the Panthers, also beat the Falcons. The Rams didn't play, so their starters, so they got the 4th seed. Washington won, and the Packers lost, so Washington made it to the 6th seed. And Detroit beat the Vikings on kind of obliterated the.
That made Sam Darnold see ghosts again.
Yeah, they obliterated the Vikings. I mean, there was a chance, but like they didn't get the points. So it was like 9 to 38, 31.
31 to 9.
Yeah, something like that. It was bad. And Gibbs was just all over the place. So. I don't know which one was more obliterated, the Chiefs backups or the Vikings, but they were both obliterated and decimated, and everything you can pound it into dirt, whatever you want to say.
It was worse for the Vikings because those were their starters.
That's true. Might be why obliterated might be the right word for in that context.
Mm-hmm. And just certain other teams, just it sucks for certain other teams, like we mentioned, like the Seahawks getting the 10-7 and nothing.
Right. Some of those seasons went to Hiffle.
Mm-hmm. Yep, to
Hiffle.
The Dolphins at the end definitely went to Hiffle. Like I think we just stopped caring when we saw how high the Broncos kept scoring.
Oh, I mean, if we both were in at halftime, I think we were up 21-0 at half.
Yeah.
So like. Yeah, I can see. Your game kind of went to mush afterwards. Like you kept it close. Like I thought it was like 13-6 or something at half.
Yeah, it was close. It was close, and then I just think everyone just stopped caring.
Yeah.
I mean, they weren't in Tua was hurt again. Like it was just really we just washed out this season. Like it just sucked.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So what do we want to talk about first? The firings or the future in the playoffs? Because your team didn't fire anybody, so we could start there.
Right. I mean, we only fired.
I was gonna say I should say the big two. Like we
did not fire McDaniel or Chris Greer, and I think that's fine. I think fans are just impatient and think that hiring new people would get it done, and
right?
Honestly, there's no guarantee. We've done this how many years? We've done this for how many years? Like
Sometimes you need to keep consistency, and this was one bad year with
Mike McDaniel.
injuries, and honestly, like let's be honest, in some ways, honest, a rebuild. When you truly think about the players that you lost in the offseason on defense, like it was what Christian Wilkins and Andrew Van Ginkel and who I forget who else.
Van Ginkel and Wilkins were the big guys we lost on.
But I mean,
and Brandon Jones.
Oh, Brandon Jones, but I mean that's a few defensive pieces, and and Jalen Phillips got hurt again. Bradley Chubb did not return.
The two big things that hurt us in the preseason that we didn't realize was that that Bradley Chubb wasn't going to come back this entire season, and Shaq Barrett retiring.
I think that was part of it, but if I had to say the other thing that was bad,
those are just like unplanned for things like
Yeah.
that you couldn't have predicted, and like I don't blame like Chris Greer because like how is he supposed to know that Shaq Barrett was going to retire and I mean to be fair, we drafted Chop Robinson with our first round pick because of this, so he did make up for that. And Chop really came along during the season. I think he's going to wreck people next season.
right? Sometimes it takes a little while to get going, but honestly, I think one of the biggest. I think there are a couple positions you were just a little older in. I think Odell didn't help, and I think he took away some playing time from when he came along. I think he took away some playing time from.
To be fair, we were hurt we got hurt in the preseason. I think River Craycraft and Taj Washington got hurt early in the preseason. So the injuries just like you know in certain positions like we were just forced at older players.
Well, I mean Malik Washington was coming on. So, I mean that's why I think he got cut in general was because
Malik Washington looked really good at the end.
But but also like Raheem Mostert. I mean,
Raheem barely played.
But like, I mean, I know he was still like. There were times where I felt like he was still like the number 2 guy over what was it, Jalen Wright?
Yeah, Jalen Wright. I can see. Honestly, I know like Mike McDaniel loves like Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson, but I could see us if we draft another running back, which I wouldn't be surprised because Mike McDaniel likes his running backs. If we draft another one, I could see like us draft another one and not like bring those and maybe not keep them.
Yeah, I mean, if you maybe sneak up and get Genty or something because you could use a power running back instead of just speed, I wouldn't be surprised. I actually think it would be a smart move.
I think Jahmyr Gibbs, like showing what he can do, shows like the value of a running back, especially, and also like you know how Bijan did a bit, and how like these running backs, like say and Derrick Henry and Josh Jacobs have been showing how well that you need. If there is a special talent at running back, you should get it.
That was what I was gonna say was the special. Like it can't be just run of the mill. Pun intended. Running backs. It needs to be like we you know it's like look at what Bijan's been able to do, and if you see that in college, you know that's why it's like.
Well, that's why they took Bijan, even though Tyler Algier looked good the previous season because Bijan was a special talent.
But just like look, you know Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, Gibbs. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes you just get that right spark, like Kyron Williams, and it's great. And I think that's something like Achan came on with too, because like I don't think these players were really talked about as big as some of these other ones, like you know, like Genty and Scatterboo is good. You know, they're gonna be like. I'm not gonna be surprised if the Broncos take Scatterboo because of the.
I wouldn't be surprised if somehow like we don't jump over the Cowboys for Jonte. That if we took Scatterboo at like.
Is it Scatterboo or Scatterboo?
Scatterboo, I think it is. But like if we take them both, like I wouldn't be shocked if it would be like running backs back to back.
I would hate that because Scatterboo feels feels like a Bronco because of what Taysom Hill's been able to do. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, it's not that Rico Dowd wasn't coming on, so.
I know, right? But a special talent is a special talent. And I could see teams jump the Cowboys for Jonte just because he's a... And Jonte might even go, like, early, like, to a team that doesn't need a quarterback.
Trying to think who that would be. I mean, to be fair, the Titans could totally get a quarterback in the offseason, trade down, draft, Gentry, because, they had Derrick Henry, and look at how they were relevant with Derrick Henry.
Right.
Like, up until, like, last season, I think that they were,
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, if they can get rid of A.J. Brown,
Yeah, well, that's a whole nother thing. I swear that guy got fired, too, with Tennessee.
Yeah, he did.
Anyways, yeah, so the Titans fired their GM, the Raiders fired their GM,
and their coach, like, days after.
Right. Patriots are looking for a new coach, which that one's an odd one. I don't think he was set up for success. But the Raiders, I think that they try, they listen to the players, but they need, like, you need a winning coach. You need somebody that can bring in a culture and stuff. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Mike McCarthy. I know he's won a Super Bowl. I know but it's the Cowboys and stuff. Like, I'm not gonna be surprised if McCarthy gets another job because it's the Cowboys and they didn't win, but you need somebody that can bring in a culture, and you need that with the Bears and the Raiders, and that's why I think Vrabel. I think that's why Vrabel and McCarthy could be right now as of this recording. I don't know if McCarthy is going to stay with the Cowboys, and those would be like the two picks to bring somebody in for a culture solidifier, like a changer and all that, just like Harbaugh and Payton were in.
Well, I mean, you need, especially those two divisions, you need someone like that because the other two divisions have 3 playoff teams.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can't guarantee your team can match, you have to be able to fight with 3 playoff teams next year, like for a huge chunk of your games.
Right, because if they keep playing as well as they do, the whole division can be in it, and you don't want. If you want to be the one team that's left out, because that's what the Bears and the Raiders are looking at, and that's why they're looking for all new coaches, and they need the culture in there.
If I was like Mike McCarthy, and if he does go, I could see a little more the Bears and the Raiders in the sense of if he has any type of if he wants to play against Green Bay again multiple times.
True.
I don't know how many people want revenge or anything like that, but
I mean, also at the same time, at least I also would have Caleb Williams. The Raiders don't have a quarterback. They've got Bo Nix, Patrick Mahomes,
and Justin
Herbert, and not just that, all of their and championship winning coaches. Even if Jim Harbaugh just was a college one, it's still a championship. And the Raider, even if McCarthy has won one, it's still been
I think the roster
it's still no quarterback.
You're right. I think the roster overall of the Bears is closer to succeeding. I think they just have the wrong. I think they have the wrong coach.
Yeah, I think that they're just missing the coach, because I think the Raiders are just missing a quarterback and a wide receiver.
It depends on what they lose in the offseason too.
Well, of course,
because I feel like they might lose some defensive players too. But
we'll definitely see about that.
But I mean, some of the running backs looked good some of the running backs looked good with the Raiders, and you do need some wide receiver help, but you have Brock Bowers, so your quarterback's going to have a weapon at least.
That's true. And he was arguably the best rookie. I mean, you can argue about all of them, so.
I mean, he should be rookie of the year, but what does a position player have to do to, how many records do they have to break to get the honors? If not just we just need to make QB awards.
Right. Rookie offensive player of the year, rookie quarterback of the year, rookie defensive player of the year. Yeah, I get it. Anyways, and I think the Jaguars are the only other team right now that fired a coach, because everybody else
fired that in the middle of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I know. Yeah, the Saints fired theirs in the middle of the season.
The
Jets. So it's teams that we already knew about, and some are safe. I still the Colts. That's a weird situation with what Pat McAfee has said. I mean, That's going to be interesting this season. So that one seems like a tear it down and needs a complete rebuild.
I don't know if Shane Steichen's the problem, but I think getting rid of Gus Bradley is definitely going to help them.
Yeah.
I don't know if Anthony Richardson needs a good offseason to develop and needs to actually develop.
I don't know if he's got time in Indianapolis to do that. I mean, it's very, very close to Justin Fields, and honestly, Justin Fields is a free agent. Like, why, if Justin Fields was at all a better Anthony Richardson, why not take your time and develop him? I know it sucks, but Anthony Richardson can just throw the long ball, but his accuracy sucks.
Right, I think just Anthony Richardson needs time to develop. I think he did play that much, and I think we're going to see going forward that quarterbacks like how Michael Penix is playing, like Michael Penix, Bo Nix, and didn't Jaden Daniel just turn 24, or am I thinking of someone else?
It was Michael Penix. Oh no, I think both.
Yeah, because I know Michael Penix and Bo Nix were the same age, and I think Jaden Daniels is starting. And I feel that older quarterbacks that more college starts with the success of Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix. And I mean, Michael Penix was looking good at the end there, are going to get picked over quarterbacks that, we're going to want more than just flashiness.
Yeah.
But like Anthony Richardson might just be like a Sam Darnold or something. He needs time. And it might be with his and if he does end up on a second team, he might need time to develop accuracy and stuff.
And I'll be honest with you. Look at how the league is right now. I don't think it's not a bad thing if you're a first round pick. I don't know. Justin Fields might be on another team next season. If not, if the Steelers wanted to try and develop him, that's fine. But we look at Baker, you said Sam Darnold, these players are getting second chances because there's still some talent there, and it's better than some of the backup talent going.
I think teams just need to find the right backup place or the right place and get an opportunity, and they might come back. I don't think we're done seeing Kenny Pickett or Mac Jones or even Zach Wilson.
Right? I think they'll get other chances, and we'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
I think we could talk a whole another podcast if we wanted to go through a bit more on the coaching carousel. I mean, I don't know who's going to get hired between now and
Mike Vrabel, maybe.
Vrabel's the only one that I think is going to get hired.
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody else is going to have to wait till the championship round or afterwards, because I think some
people, basically a lot of people are going to wait for Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, and I feel like some others they might wait for some other ones. I heard Vance Joseph is being waited to be interviewed. I've
heard Steve Spagnuolo. He could have another chance.
Steve Spagnuolo does deserve another chance. Joe Brady. I don't know if the defensive coordinator of the Bills was, but
yeah, I heard Anthony. I know he can be interviewed, but Anthony Weaver.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I wouldn't be surprised. I think Ravens coaches are getting
right. You always should look at the Ravens.
Arthur Smith.
Arthur Smith, I've seen being interviewed as well.
Well, right now with how the Falcons look, I'm not. It's kind of not surprising, because maybe it's just these are just high draft picks. Maybe the Falcons they aren't that great.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Coaching was. I don't really feel like anything changed in Atlanta.
Atlanta still felt like Atlanta, even though the coach had changed. But maybe that's just on the bad pick in coaching. Maybe they should have got rid of. Maybe they should have got rid of everything. Got rid of the general manager and everything, and let Belichick take over.
Right? I definitely could have seen a different story there.
I mean, Kirk Cousins kind of regressing like he did kind of feels weird.
Well, his might just be, age finally factoring in.
Right.
All right. Anything else with the coaching GM?
I'm surprised. I'm kind of surprised the Titans kept their head coach.
Kind of too. I don't know. We'll see that.
Right. It's just. I guess it's good to see some people still being patient.
Right.
It might be a mistake. It might not. But we'll see.
Yeah. Well, if they fired the GM and the GM's the one that hired the coach, this coach probably only got one more year.
Right. Unless they hire a new GM who's just once they fire that guy, then maybe year 5 too, ruined because they're still waiting on the Ben Johnsons and the Aaron Glens.
Right? We shall see. You would just fire them then, so I guess maybe they're going to see.
I mean, it might be if the new GM wants.
Sure, hey, who knows? Maybe somebody gets fired in the next week or two. It wouldn't be the first time it's happened.
Right.
And who knows who's going to get fired after if they lose this weekend, you know?
Right. I could totally see a possibility if you beat the Bills, Sean McDermott might get fired.
Oh yeah,
because there's no reason you're wasting Josh Allen if you don't win in the first round.
Oh, if they don't make the championship game, it's going to be a waste.
Sirianni, I don't know about Sirianni. He seems less crazy lately.
A little bit, but I don't think he's the most important piece in that thing. So they could just fire him, and
especially if they're hiring the other especially if they're hiring the other coaches without his say, they can just maybe find someone who wants to work with the two they have already. Or
who says it can't just be killing more to
right?
I mean, Vic might not want to do it anymore, but
right. I don't know about Mike Tomlin. He can get. I mean, he hasn't lost yet, but man, if you make it to the playoffs, but like you're just like stumbling in, are you like you shouldn't be allowed in the playoffs, right? Joe Burrow should be in the playoffs instead of the Steelers.
All right, just trade the Tomlin for Sirianni. See how that goes with both fan bases. I'd love to see that.
Right. I think a lot of the other coaches are fine. I don't think anyone else is on the bubble of. And I know some people want Todd Bowles gone, but they keep winning the division, so.
Right. I don't think that's gonna happen.
So I think Bowles is fine. But like I know, but other coaches might, but like it just might be losing other position coaches. But I'm fine to move on to the actual games in the playoffs.
Right, me too. Yeah, should we just go in order of when they're being played? Because I think that's
who's first.
Who's first? Come on, they always play the first. Whenever they're in the playoffs, they always play on Saturday afternoon game every time. The last decade, the Texans.
It's always. I didn't know if it was the Texans or the Steelers, but I see that it doesn't matter. The Texans and the Steelers play on Saturday.
No, it's the Texans always at the 1 o'clock game or the 3 o'clock game. I think it starts at 12 or something like that. It's always the early afternoon, early Saturday game. So well, Texans Chargers.
Well, I think the Chargers are going to win just based on the bad offensive line play of the Texans, but the Texans do have a good defense, and if the O-line can hold together and C.J. Stroud can remember he was a good NFL quarterback and not an Ohio State quarterback, they have a shot.
I'd say they have a shot, but I mean, unless Nico Collins and Joe Mixon are going to really carry, and I mean Dalton Schultz too, but I don't know how much I think Stingley Jr. can take care, if he's covering Lad McConkey, he'll be I think they can nullify him, but it's really going to depend on the run game. But I still have the Chargers here. I think dude,
if the defense pulls off if the defense can pull off if the defense can get some scores in special teams for the Texans, I think they can get any kind of sway to switch the momentum. They have a shot, but I think it's going to they're going to have to rely on that type of magic, because I just don't know if the offense has it.
See, honestly, I said Chargers earlier, but I can't see the Houston Texans winning this one when I think about it, because I mean the Texans. To be fair, the Texans also didn't win a lot of playoff teams. So if you ever wonder who's going to really knows how to play playoff football, neither team, because the Chargers only beat the Broncos twice, and the Texans, I think, beat one team in the playoffs, and I think that was really early on, and I can't. It was Buffalo. So that was that's it. So, and that was the Buffalo Funk games or something.
Hey! If the Chargers have a funk, the Texans have a shot.
Right, and part of me wants to say I don't think. I mean, I do think a lot of the wild card road teams are going to win. So. But the thing is, it's the Chargers are the favorite, even with the Texans at home. So
I mean, the Texans and the Steelers both have been playing shitty the last the last 2 weeks. They've not been playing great football, and that's why pretty much everyone is against them.
Right.
I mean, even with since they both play on the same day, like even jumping to the Steelers game, I don't know who's picking the Steelers over the Ravens.
Oh, me neither. Only the Steelers faithful like.
Only they must live in Pittsburgh or they're a Steelers fan.
And even then, I don't know how many of them are picking it. So, but okay. So who do you have on this one? I'm debating on going with who I think I will win and who I want to win. And do you want me to go first? Do you want me to go first?
Sure. Who do you want to win, and who do you think will win?
I want the Texans because the Chargers are, a rival. So I want them. I think that the Texans can win, but I think the Chargers will win. So I think the Chargers will win.
I think the Chargers will win.
I feel like the AFC is kind of an easier.
I think the Chargers will win just because I think they're built better in certain positions. However, if Herbert doesn't hit certain receivers, like a guy who wasn't thrown to it all once and almost, or people like Quentin Johnston who regressed back to last year's Quentin Johnston, even that's why Lad McConkey's good and Will Dissly, so they have good weapons. They only have J.K. Dobbins. They lost Gus Edwards. They have Zeke now.
I think he's on the practice squad unless they move
right.
him up.
I think so. I think they're going to use the other two that they've been using. So I mean, J.K. Dobbins is a really good running back, and I think honestly, I think they both might run the same type of game plan, very physical, defense and run the ball, they definitely should. And but yeah, I think the Chargers will win, and who I want to win, I guess I'm just going to say I'm split here. Who I want to win is I have reasons why I want the Texans to win and reasons why I want the Chargers to win. Reasons why I want the Chargers to win is because I think the Chargers have a better shot of beating the Chiefs if they had to, and I want whoever can beat out the Chiefs out. Why I want the Texans to win is because I don't want the narrative. I don't want any narratives about Justin Herbert or anything.
I mean, it's not a great narrative for Justin Herbert right now either, so...
Right, it's the whole Justin Herbert versus Tua narrative. It's they're both not looking that great right now.
Right. I mean, compared to Joe Burrow was the right choice to go number one, so... I mean, I'm glad he won the college football, championship, so that helped him.
I mean, if you look at all the quarterbacks so far from that draft, they're all kind of shaky.
Yeah, so...
Joe Burrow's a little better than some other... I know Burrow and Hurts are got the Super Bowls, but they're all kind of Joe Burrow's the only one Joe Burrow's looking the best. Jordan Love is a little shaky, but I think that's that's based on the team play.
I think they need another wide receiver with Green Bay.
And Jalen Hurts, it depends on it's really just injuries on the others.
Yeah. But I was gonna say I know with the Chargers, I know there's a few games where the Chargers were hit or miss on your fantasy livelihood.
They were.
So it's oh no, this player's not doing good. This player's injured. This player.
The Texans and at this rate, thinking about the Texans and the Chargers, I'm can a meteor hit? Because they both screwed me over in the play. It both screwed me over in fantasy football.
No meteors.
You're right.
Anyways, all right. So next.
Basically, I think I'll lean more towards the Chargers just because of the whole I want whoever I think can beat the Chiefs better.
That's fair. Next game is.
Do we want to just speed through the Steelers and the Ravens?
Well, let me just go at it, and you can add whatever you want. The Steelers have been on a 4-game losing streak in a row. 4 games in a row. All playoff teams because they lost to let's see. The Bengals were a playoff caliber. They still had a winning record. They lost to the Chiefs the week before, the Ravens before that, and I think Philly before that.
I think so. Yeah, they did have a match, the Pittsburgh game, the Pennsylvania game.
Yeah, so that's what 4 games in a row. Russ has stunk. George Pickens doesn't feel like he's on the same page. I don't think they've really gotten the run game going. The defense can only do so much. So yeah, that offense is like pretty abysmal right now. So as long as who's the offensive coordinator in Baltimore?
Todd Monken.
Yeah, Todd Monken. As long as Monken calls the right plays, you lean heavily on the Derrick Henry, because if it's supposed to be like chilly and a little, I don't know if it's supposed to be rainy, but if it's supposed to be like chilly, a good run type game, let Lamar have some of his designed runs, feed Derrick Henry the ball. They've got what, Justice Hill, and then who was the third one that was coming on like
Keaton Mitchell.
Yeah, Keaton Mitchell. Just run the ball. Sometimes get it to Mark Andrews, Rashad Bateman when you need to, and let the defense, handle the AFC North playoff, AFC North, football like they usually do, because and I think the Ravens are going to win, and I want the Ravens to win.
Yeah, basically, I think the Ravens are going to win, and I want the Ravens to win. Because I don't think the Steelers basically got lucky that they figured out that they were good in the beginning. Mm-hmm. Like the Steelers really shouldn't be in the playoffs here.
Steelers would not have beaten the Bo Nix Broncos any week after week 3. Like they were lucky that they played them week 2, because Bo Nix figured it out. They wouldn't have won.
Right.
So, yeah, like I said, I don't know. We don't have to spend a lot of time on it. I think I covered like every.
Basically, yeah. I think just Lamar, Derrick Henry, the running backs. I don't think even if Zay Flowers isn't playing, I think they just run the ball down their throats.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the slobber knocker the game normally is. But basically the offense of the Ravens versus the defense of the Steelers is basically on the same level. But I think the defense of the Ravens is at a higher level than the offense of the Steelers, and that's going to be what costs the Steelers.
I wasn't going to say it was a slobber knocker. The offense of the Ravens versus the Steelers defense, that can be slobber knocker. That can be a slobber knocker. But as long as Lamar Jackson doesn't overthink and make mistakes, I think they've got this game handedly. Like they might even have it won in the first half.
The only thing to be mentioned is if the Ravens lose this game, and it's because of Lamar, the questions are not going to end. They are not going to. Playoff Lamar is not going to die.
No, it's actually going to bring up more questions, but I think we can talk about that after. Let's see where he gets, because basically the questions are going to be like, what can Josh do? What can Lamar do if nobody gets past the Chiefs? If the Chiefs are even in contention for the three-peat, it's going to be the same old questions. If it's Mahomes versus a Bo Nix or Justin Herbert, and they make it, to the championship round, still going to be questions about those two quarterbacks. So, realistically, they said, I remember hearing about, house money. Right now, Broncos are playing with house money, and to a degree, full on house money. The Chargers have some house money too. Texans, questions will be, what are they gonna, where can they improve? But we'll see where the losses take place. All right, on to my game.
Yep, ready to move to your game.
Right. Gosh, this one has been talked about in the national media a lot more than I thought it was going to be, because the Broncos were kind of a quiet team most of the season until they needed to win. And after that Saturday night game against the Bengals, Bo Nix, those air yards, Marvin Mims, everybody felt like they finally were coming on, that second half and that overtime. So I'm hoping we just keep up that energy. There are a few things I remember seeing, the defense is has the most sacks, and their offensive line allows the least amount of sacks, and there's some different stats I remember hearing that the defense actually has won most of the games. There's something with that stat with the sacks. I think the defensive team is 3-0, and then there's something else with the defense. I'm blanking on the category in it, but it's something about, I don't know if it's the turnovers or something, but they were 4-1. So there's a few different numbers and different statistics that, if the Broncos lean on the defense, it can win them the game. And Bo Nix has played as good as Josh Allen. The numbers are very comparable.
Right.
They're not that far off. Especially with the total touchdowns. I think, and especially when you count how many interceptions Bo had those first few weeks. He cleaned those up for a while. I think he had a couple in some of the later weeks, but not last week, but I think weeks 15 through 17. But he was doing pretty good overall. So I do worry about Josh Allen running it. and their run game versus our run game. I truly don't know how good their defense is. They don't have a lot of names, but they were giving up points to the Patriots.
I think the Bills defense, like, that's really going to be the
Well,
question.
they also gave up. I just remember the other. They gave up points to the Rams and the Lions. So
Basically, what it's going to be is that the slobber knocker is going to be Josh Allen versus the Broncos defense, and then we have no idea what's going to happen with Bo Nix and the Broncos offense versus the Bills defense. I really don't know what to expect from the Bills defense. Sometimes they can shut a team out, and sometimes they can give up 40 points. So
I mean, they can also give up like 21 points or so to the Patriots too. So
right, so they're going to be a mixed bag.
Or 24, 21, yeah.
Most of the season they relied on Josh Allen, and I'm just going to say they're just going to hedge their bets on Josh Allen, and basically it comes down to stopping Josh Allen.
Oh, I agree. I was also going to say you're really feeling the slobber knockers.
It was the best kind of word I choose. Right.
All right. So I'm gonna have you go first on this one. Who do you think versus who do you want? Okay, we know who you want.
I mean, I figured we already know who you want more than we already know who I want, but it's obviously So this is kind of a mixed bag in the sense of as the Dolphins fan, yes, I want the Broncos because the Bills fans can go lose can go join us on the couch too. The only reason of like how I said the best option to beat the Chiefs is why I would want Josh Allen and the Bills, because I still feel like he's the best option we have. But like I said, if he can't beat you, then he's not the best option we have.
Right.
And who I think will win the game, I really don't. It's really going to depend on Vance Joseph and what kind of style he plays, because your defense has been like super good except for those few games that teams magically just like.
Riley Moss is back, and if he's like feeling better than he did against the Bengals, he'll
right. As long basically if Josh Allen can exploit like your defense, that will be the problem. And so basically, I'm just going to say I want the Broncos, and I think the Bills are going to win because I think Josh Allen just being Josh Allen is going to push them further.
I mean, I think it could go a full.
I think it
could go either way, but I was going to say I think it could be like a 31-35 point win for whoever has the ball last.
Oh, yeah.
So I want the Broncos to win because if anybody, because I want the Broncos to just be able to beat everybody and get the fourth Super Bowl, championship, because that would come out of the blue. Like, I would not be expecting that. And man, to be able to stop the 3 feet, chef's kiss. Even if we were to lose the Super Bowl. Gosh, if we played the Lions or the Vikings, we'd be the villains because we've had Super Bowls. But anyways,
I'm really rooting. And besides the Broncos, it's really rooting for the NFC this year.
Yeah, that's fair. I think I want the Broncos. Obviously, I want them to just go all the way. But I think the Broncos can win. But I think the Bills will win. So I think it's very close, like the Texans. I see a way that the Texans as well as the Broncos can win, but I think that there's just I don't even know if I don't feel like there's a team of destiny right now on the AFC side, if you want to know the truth.
Right? It's really
I feel the team of destiny is the Lions right now. Like everybody else feels like if you're there, you're just going to be there. And that includes the Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, hey, I'm gonna take all of the gravy or frosting or whipped cream, whatever you want to call it. I will take all of the extra.
Enjoy whatever comes.
Right, I'm gonna be up and ready, watching my game, all filled with anxiety. Well, I guess as much as anxiety as you can have because you're not expecting to win. It's gravy. So.
I mean, I'm sure Sean Payton was expecting to be here.
Oh, he wanted to be. They all wanted to be. So, like, they were fighting for it. So, all right, next game. We're halfway done.
Yeah, next game. So, the next game on Sunday is Green Bay at Philly.
Man, the Packers, who have beaten one playoff team, and that was, I believe, the Houston Texans. They have beaten one team in the division. That was the Chicago Bears, and not in the last week. Christian Watson is hurt. Jair Alexander is out. They're both out. I have loved the Packers. I love Jordan Love. I just, they're not, the Philadelphia Eagles are not the Dallas Cowboys. I think the Eagles have, everything possible to match up and like beat the Packers.
Right, I think the Eagles are just built too well. Like
They are.
They're winning with like Tanner McKee. When you're built that good. When I don't even know who Tanner McKee is. When you're winning with a quarterback, like a backup quarterback like that, then your team is built too good.
Right.
And I don't know. And it's really like I don't know who can beat them except for maybe the Lions.
Honestly,
and maybe if they end up against the Commanders, maybe if the Commanders go up against them just because of the rivalry.
No, I think actually other teams can beat them. I just don't think the Packers can. I think the Bucks can.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think the Lions can. The Vikings can. I think almost everybody else. If it was the other way, if it wasn't the Packers,
The only advantage I might give to the Packers is that I don't know, they're good. I know it's just been the Cowboys, but like I don't know, they do well in the first round of the playoffs against NFC East teams.
hey, it only happened once, but hey, it's still history. It still happened. So, do I think they have a chance? Yeah. Do I want? I'll just say it this way: I want the Packers.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be the Eagles.
Pretty much the same. Well, you know how it goes. Love hurts.
Yeah. Yep. All right, Sunday Night Football, one of the juicier games. I mean, this could be high scoring.
Yep.
I'm glad some of the
Washington and
defenses,
Tampa Bay.
right? I'm glad some of the defensive pieces are coming back for.
Both teams.
Oh yeah, both teams. Because I know like Marshawn Lattimore, but I know like it's like Antoine Winfield Jr. And wasn't there? I think Cade Otton's. I know he's a tight end, but
Yeah.
I think he's coming back. And I thought that there was
Someone else coming back for the
Tristan Wirfs.
Buccaneers. I'm not sure who.
But I mean, these teams are like they're defensive coaches. The defenses are not what they should be. It feels like an offensive-led team by defensive coaches. It's almost like playing a mirror in some ways. And you got Mike Evans, you got Terry McLaurin. I like the Buccaneers running game a little bit more, or actually a lot more. I like Rashad White, and I really like Bucky Irving.
Yeah, Bucky Irving and Rashad White, I think, beat out Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler. I mean, to be fair, those two are both good. And I think
They haven't been good. I know Austin Eckler's coming off IR, but Brian Robinson Jr. has not been.
I think they've been
great. Has not been well.
I think they've been good. I think the Buccaneers running backs have been great.
That's fair. I don't know how good they've been, but I'll just say they've been average. So.
Basically
For Washington, I should say.
Basically, I think the Buccaneers running backs are better. This is the weird one. This is like the first one the real first one that I could say who I want is both of them because I like both teams, and it's not like I'm happy to see if Washington succeeds. I'm happy to see if Buccaneers succeed.
That's fair.
Now, who I think is going to win, I need to think about for a second here.
Well, I will just add on that I also like the wide receiving core because it's like Shepard, Sterling Shepard, and then the new
Jalen McMillan.
Jalen McMillan's been really coming on, so I like how they've been filling in for Godwin. So if you need time to think, I guess I could say the same as far as I don't mind if Washington wins. I like Jaden Daniels and stuff. But I really do want the Buccaneers, and I think the Buccaneers are going to win. So I'm going with Buccaneers on both of these.
Yeah, I want both because I like the Commanders since they got rid of Dan and Snyder. It's so nice to be able to root for them.
Right. Well, they've done that best season since before Dan Snyder bought the team. So it's just fantastic to hear.
Right. And then it's like, I want Baker to succeed. So, but I think I'll give. But since who I think will win, I think the edge goes to the Buccaneers. So I'll give it to them.
Okay.
Just because I think they're better in a few positions, just in a few positions.
And
Baker,
that's
it
totally
doesn't matter
fair.
if Baker throws an interception; he'll just come back firing.
That's true. I feel like Goff and Baker have been the two of the players that have been able to overcome that really well. Besides Patrick Mahomes in the San Francisco game.
Yep.
All right, so last game we've got the Minnesota Vikings coming in at 14-3 against the 10-7 Los Angeles Rams, and they are playing in Arizona because of the wildfires there, and hoping for the best for all the people out there. First of all, I honestly cannot imagine what they're going through, so all the best from us.
Yeah.
First of all, and then as far as the game goes, I feel like these teams are some of the most evenly matched on offense because Stafford. I think Stafford a little bit better than Darnold, but the running backs feel pretty equal. You get good out of Williams and Jones, and then I do like Cam Akers in the run game too, especially with catching too. I do kind of like the core, the receiving core with the tight end for the Vikings a little bit more with Jefferson, Addison, Naylor, and Hawkinson. I do like that crew a little bit better than I love Puka and Cooper Cup, but I thought there was something going on with Demarcus Robinson, and I'm glad Tyler Higbee's back, but outside of those, I don't think that they equal up to
I think it's going to be.
I don't think the Rams equal up to the Vikings. So
But there's one thing. I think the one thing that the Vikings that you can't factor in for the Rams, and I've said it before, the one thing you can't measure is heart. And if they're playing for the city of Los Angeles because of the wildfires with the Rams, and even the Chargers maybe, and this might even boost the Chargers too. They could be playing because of the wildfires. They could be playing just how the Hurricane Katrina, the stuff like that boosted the Saints.
That wasn't the same. That took a year for that to really. That took a couple years to really.
It might
energize when the town fully recovered and stuff. Not while it was happening.
So basically, my opinion is that with the measuring of heart is that either it's going to help them or hurt them. Both the Rams and the Chargers.
Well, yeah,
these
they
fires
might be.
Could demoralize them or I guess moralize them.
I was gonna say it might be weighing on their heart. So yeah, I could see that.
So is it an anchor? Is it an anchor or adrenaline?
Right. The big thing, the other thing is I like Jared Verse on the defense, but when I compare the defenses, the Vikings, I know they got Dallas Turner, Harrison Smith. I know they don't have the biggest names that you always hear about, but Brian Flores is doing a great job with that defense. I just like their defense a little bit more overall. So, and I didn't this is one of the few games I really didn't have a pick for yet. So I'm wondering what you have.
Basically, granted, the Vikings are 14-3. I know they laid a stinker last week.
Right.
But overall, on paper,
they've always kept them
basically,
close,
basically, that was against the Lions. Basically, are they who they really are, or were they just, or did that pumpkin, or did they finally become the pumpkin? On paper, I like both teams. I guess who I want, I'd like to see. I guess I would like to see Sam Darnold succeed. So I guess I'll go with the Vikings for the want. I'm a little of both. I don't mind. I like a lot of people on the Rams. So, who I think will win?
This is a tough one, right?
Yeah, it is a tough one.
Or you want me? I've got mine figured out.
Have
So.
you figured it out?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay. I honestly, I want the Vikings because again, I want to see somebody who hasn't won a Super Bowl. Even though I'm with you, I like both players on both teams. I know they're Ethan's team, the Rams, and I want to see Puka Nacua win a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to see the whole team as the Vikings win a Super Bowl. But I also think that the Vikings can win just because I think they're just a little bit better in most of the departments. I think the Vikings will win, though the Rams have Matthew Stafford. I think is the big factor if the Rams can win at all. A little bit with Sean McVay too. So, but
I'm very mixed on saying. Part of me is mixed on saying I want the Vikings to win because I do want the Vikings to win. I do want to see like Sam Darnold and Andrew Van Ginkel win. I don't know if I want to see Brian Flores win. But that's the whole thing. But I think I'll give it to the Vikings because of Andrew Van Ginkel.
so you think they can win?
I mean, if Andrew Van Ginkel can. Andrew Van Ginkel almost got like an interception that could have changed the game. It could have helped give them more momentum against the Lions, but
you're not wrong. I mean, he's an All-Pro for a reason. So I swear we went like everybody the same. But to be fair,
we both don't like some of the same teams.
Well, it's not just that. I think it's also just when we
a lot of matchups this time around on paper, going the Ravens was easy. Just like seeing through the Texans was easy, but we both kind of believe in the Texans. We both the same thing with the Broncos. We both have similar things. It's like a team. It's your team versus the team I hate. So it's kind of on the same. It's kind of on the same level, and we both just prefer the Packers, and we both kind of prefer the Packers over the Eagles, and we both like both teams in the Bucks Commanders game, and this game same thing. We're both kind of saying the same.
I meant. Well, that's wants. I mean, wants are one thing, but I think we're both saying we both think the same teams are going to win.
Yeah, just from the statistics and
I know
things we heard. We from the logical data we've heard and we've absorbed. We just think that's.
Well, we also watch the games. We watch we see it. We see what they can do. But I will absolutely say that if they're I think that the Broncos are the most likely team to pull the upset. If I had to pick one upset, it's going to be the Broncos. And it's not because I want them.
Who's the favorite? Who's the favorite in the Buccaneers Commanders game?
I think the Buccaneers because they're at home. I think they'd be my second one, along with the Texans. Those would be like.
Basically, I was thinking I was going to say the Texans because we watched a lot of Chargers games here, and they're not as good as people think. And the Texans,
they played a fourth place schedule.
The Texans are better. The Texans, even with like the O-line issues, as long as if CJ can get his head, can fix himself, because some people do kick it into the next level during the playoffs.
Yeah, that's
if CJ can do that, I think the Texans. Honestly, I think the Texans have a very good shot.
I will say the one that I think is unlikely to happen, and I will be the most shocked at, is if the Steelers beat the Ravens. Honest to goodness, I think that will be the most shocking one.
If the Steelers beat the Ravens, that is the absolute biggest shock of the weekend.
Right? Like, I can believe...
Everything else is like... Everything
else is believable. Like, you can see somebody just having an ugly game, but, like, the Steelers are just losing rust. Russ looks like Broncos Russ, so...
It feels impossible for the Steelers to win.
It does.
Unless by special team shenanigans.
I actually can't believe it is Saturday, the Saturday night game. I'm honestly surprised that the Broncos are any of the Sunday games aren't on there. So on Saturday night, like I just feel like this. Like I mean, for the prime game, it's just like Like, okay, we know, like we know you want to see the Ravens. I get it. Like, but like, you really want to show us the Steelers in prime time?
All right.
But
It's
like
the market.
it's I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's more the market that like there's fans all over. But I think the fans are even tired of Tomlin. That's a whole nother story. But
If Tomlin got fired or something, I think there were a few other teams that would grab Tomlin.
oh, easily. I think that there's a better chance of him getting traded. But
Hmm.
I will say, color would be surprised if they do win the playoff game. A
Agreed.
playoff game. So, all right. So, anything else?
No, I think that's it for me.
Man, if the Steelers and the Broncos win, then that means the Chargers host a playoff game, or the Texans host a second playoff game. Because if they both were to win, like that'd be like Broncos Chiefs, and then Steelers like Texans or Steelers Chargers. Wow, that would be something else.
And all right.
All right, so nothing else.
And that's it.
All right. Well, with that, good luck to all the playoff teams that you are rooting for out there. And please give us a like, share, subscribe, give us any feedback. And we will see you here next time on Generic Sports Podcast. Thanks for joining us, and have a good one. Bye.